Welcome to Spot On Chat. I'm Rebecca Monet with Zorco Profiles. Zorco provides profiling tools for franchisors and franchise brokers that helps facilitate a right fit between a prospective franchisee and a franchise concept. With me today is Tom Scarda. Tom is a certified franchise executive and the brains behind the Franchise Academy. He's also host of a very popular podcast called Franchise FrontRunner and the author of 3 books focused on business and franchising. Franchise Savvy, 6 strategies pros use to pick a top performing franchise, and the magic of choosing uncertainty, which we talked a little bit about that uncertainty in an earlier video. You're going to want to listen to that. And the road to franchise freedom. You also recently won the top 100 global influencers in franchising, Tom. So congratulations on that and welcome to the show.
Well, thank you, Rebecca, and thank you for all of those great words.
Hey, you earned them, right?
Thank you.
Say yes.
I guess I did. I don't know. I'm just trying to make it happen.
Making it happen, shaking it up. Absolutely. Going in another lane, going fast if necessary, slow if necessary, whatever it takes. That's Tom.
Yes, I think it was Mario Andretti who said, "If you're not driving fast enough, if everything seems in control, you're not driving fast enough."
Fast enough. Yep. Hey, then I must be driving pretty fast, but that's how I feel in my life right now. Like, holy moly, what's happening? Oh, so this is the last segment in the Spot On Chat, and it's a question I ask all of my guests, and it has to do with what if or if only. So if you think forward or you think back, are there any what ifs or if onlys in your life? And if so, can you share?
You know, I'm thinking a lot about this question, and I think that it relates to a lot of stuff we have talked about previously on other episodes, and that is, what if I chose to stay in my lane and not make any changes?
Hmm.
I do think about that. I am friends with a lot of guys that I started working in the subway with back in the '80s. They're all retired now, and just hanging out at the beach like every day. They got nothing to do, which is okay for some people. I'm on the phone all day, talking to people. But what if I would have just stayed in that lane? Would I have been, a big shot at the transit authority? Would I have an impact on people? Yes. Would I have such a wider impact that I've had doing what I do now? Probably not. I don't know if I ever would have wrote a book. So what if I just chose, unhappiness instead of uncertainty?
What a great question, right? What if I would have chosen unhappiness rather than uncertainty? You chose uncertainty. You chose to change lanes. In fact, you changed lanes a handful of times, each time progressing you towards where you are today. But you could have, pulled a city pension and been on the beach about now, right?
Yeah, I could
Instead,
have.
doesn't sound like you though. Doesn't sound like you at all.
No, I always had like an entrepreneurial itch. And even when I was working for transit, when I got into a little bit of a more of a senior role, I was trying to change things up to, save money and make things more efficient. And I was told, like in a hallway, mind your business.
Mind your business. There's rules here.
Right. Just follow, status quo, man. You're messing with people's overtime. They're gonna beat you up in the parking lot, which
How?
is true.
Yeah. So there was a status quo, and with your entrepreneurial spirit, it was natural for you to challenge the status quo. Well, what if we do this? What if we save some money? What if we don't do that? What if we change this up a little bit? So your natural kind of problem solver, strategic thinker, entrepreneurial side, even in this kind of job, showed itself where you push the envelope. It's interesting though that they didn't shut you up and they didn't stop you. And even though there was if you walk out, you'll get beat up or whatever. You continued on, um, thinking outside the box, pushing the envelope, questioning the status quo, and at some point, even leaving that lane and going somewhere else.
Right. Yeah. It's everything's just a personal choice, right? And what I realized over the years is that you can only really control one thing, and that's your mind and how you react to situations and the choices you make. Everything else is out of your control, and if you really worry about it or think about it, you're going to be in a constant state of anxiety if you're acting, about things that you can't control. And so I often tell the story. If you don't mind, I just want to share like my impetus for my big change from
Yeah,
transit to
here.
business. So I was working on a subway line. It's the R line. If you're familiar with the New York City subway, the R goes from Brooklyn through Manhattan into Queens and back. And so it's a total of an hour and a half run. Then you get a lunch, you do it again, and it takes you just about all day. And so that particular line is a local, makes every stop, 45 stops, and it never comes out of the ground. Most every subway, there's 21 lines in this transit system in New York. All of them
Come
come
on.
out of the ground, right? On the trestle over the Manhattan Bridge or Williamsburg Bridge, um, except for the shuttle in Times Square. That doesn't come out of the ground. But anyway, um, I was working that line. It was a Sunday night. My hours were 6 p.m. to 2 a.m. and I hated it, and it showed on my face apparently because this old timer said, "Hey kid, don't worry about it. This is a great job because you'll always have a shirt on your back." He said, "It'll never be a silk shirt, but at least you'll have a shirt." And that hit me like a bucket of cold water. I was like,
Wow.
wait a second. I wanted, my days off are Monday and Tuesday, Tuesday and Wednesday. Does it get any better? And I looked at my bosses, who I loved and some I still talk to, but they were not wearing that metaphorical silk shirt. And I realized that professionals like doctors and lawyers were, but mostly business owners were living the lifestyle I wanted to live. In that moment, I decided I want to be a business owner, but I didn't know how. I was a transit guy. I had no experience, no sales skills, no business sense. But I realized that a franchise is a business with training wheels, and that's what I
Yes.
needed. Somebody to hold my hand.
Yes. I love that story. Isn't it funny how a single encounter, and you didn't even know this person from the sounds of it, that put a picture in your head that goes, oh my gosh, I could be doing this the rest of my life. Yes, I'll pay the bills, put food on the table, yada, 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 but I will never be someone in a silk shirt. Right. And somehow that picture in your head said, okay, what do I have to do to get that silk shirt? Right. And
Right.
business owner is what struck you. And it's true. It really is true. Owning a business allows us to create our own destiny, allows us to choose uh, what our future is going to be like, and not have and not be a corporate minion and have corporate tell us what we are capable of or not capable of.
Right. Or we would have never met, you and I, right? We would have never met. I wouldn't be here today. Literally, I was talking to a friend of mine. So this is actually my wife's friend's husband. And we're driving in the car. This is about a few months ago. And he goes, it's so weird. I was engaged to another woman and she broke up with me. And I was devastated, right? But now I look back on it and I think, wow, I would have never met you guys, right? We
Yeah.
wouldn't be. We were actually on a trip. We were traveling together. So there's actually more than a few months ago. It was over a year ago. Anyway, it struck me when he said that. You think about things that
Yeah.
go negative in your life, and it's terrible at the time. Even like when I lost my second franchise and almost went bankrupt, I was crying back then. But now I look at it as a blessing because I was able to really learn so much from that failure. And now I could, and I have been for 16 years teaching people how to not make those mistakes.
Hmm.
and it's coming from, you know, someone who's been there and done it, you know, not just read it in a book.
Yeah. What a great story. I'm going to propose that the man you met that said something about you'll never wear a silk shirt, I'm going to propose he might have been an angel
Hmm.
planting a little seed in your head. You
That's
know,
very interesting. If you, I can tell you what he looked like. He did not look like an
he
angel.
didn't look like an angel.
He was overweight. He was like, looked like he was about to have a heart attack. You
Maybe
know,
he,
like a half-grown beard, disheveled, dirty shirt. Uh,
hey, you'd be surprised what God does sometimes. Maybe it was just an old cherub. That's why he was a little bit chubby.
yeah, yeah, no, it's, you know, I totally believe that. I love that. I actually got goosebumps when you said that, because that's what it is. And something I like to share with my candidates all the time is you have to listen for those clues. It's the
Hmm.
clues that are, you know, that's, you know, the other thing I also share in relation to that is that I believe that we have two brains as humans. We have one in our head and one in our gut. The
Yeah,
one in our head is as old as man on earth, 4.5 million years old. The one in our gut is as old as God or infinity, whatever you believe.
yeah,
So when something happens, like if you're making a decision on a franchise, your head is telling you one thing, but people always say listen to your gut. What is your gut telling you?
yeah.
And that's because that's God talking to you,
That's God talking.
right? And so
And
you have to
sometimes
separate your head from your gut, and that's I think people's, for the most part, that's their life's work. It's to separate
it's usually
the
their
two
life's
brains.
work. God saying, change lanes, left
Change
turn up
lanes.
here, or whatever, whatever. And sometimes we will hear it, and sometimes we won't. And I'm so grateful that you heard it.
Yeah,
And next time I see you, I want to see you in a silk shirt.
I have many. I'm actually starting my own shirt line, which is a whole nother story we could talk
Oh
about.
my gosh. So cool. See, look, it turned into a business. I love it. Thanks again, Tom, for spending time with me today and sharing your life and your heart and some inspiration for all of us. I really appreciate you being here.
My pleasure. Thank you, Rebecca. Thanks for having me. This is an honor, and I hope to see you very soon.